Hey there on the ROBOTY channel. In today's episode, I'll show you a job that every young person who spends dozens of hours in front of the computer thinks about and dreams of. A job related to new technologies, laptops, computers, artificial intelligence, and games. So if you're interested in these topics, stay until the end of this video.
I started after high school helping customers choose products.
With me is Simon, our expert for this episode. Welcome. Today we'll talk about your job, about working in a showroom, about new technologies. Where exactly are we?
We are in the Lenovo and Motorola showroom. This is an important place for us because we have all the latest in computers and smartphones.
Starting from the very beginning, is this really a dream job for people connected with technology or simply for young people who like to click around, play games and would like to work in a place like this?
I think it's definitely close to being a dream job. Yes, it's like each of us, when we were kids clicking around on the computer, thought, I'd like to work someday, maybe be a game tester. We're close to technology, so generally you could say that there's some overlap here, so it really is a great job because we interact with technology. We're up to date with what's changing, with what's appearing on the market, so it's really interesting.
We'll discuss this job's interesting parts later in the episode, but what's in the showroom?
There's the smartphone zone behind you, the mobile device zone, which includes tablets, and also the Legion Go consoles, devices for gamers who like to play on the go. Ultra slim, ultra mobile solutions from the Yoga series, and of course, what's most important for gamers, the Legion series. Equipped with the latest generation RTX cards, of course supported by NVIDIA technologies like NVIDIA Reflex. We'll likely expand on this later, but there's already a lot happening.
So, we take a laptop like this. What can we actually do on this kind of hardware? I guess pretty much everything now.
Pretty much, yes. Thanks to the fact that we have the latest RTX cards, we're able to play the newest games with really fantastic settings. Sometimes it feels like we're playing a game or watching a movie because it looks so realistic, but these laptops aren't just for gaming. Now we're also in a time when students, unfortunately, are coming back from vacation. These are also laptops that will work great for education. Equipped with NVIDIA Studio, which means the latest drivers that let you work comfortably with programs where you can create, edit, and design. So the level of performance we achieve, of course, thanks to AI support, is really top-notch. A really wide range of users can find something that suits them.
If you're interested in this kind of gaming equipment, make sure to stay until the end of this video, because at the end we have a contest where you can win both this gear and equipment for your gaming room. So that's at the end, and now let's move on. There we have some chill-out zones, places to sit and relax. What's this all about?
Yes, we also want this to be a comprehensive experience. When someone comes in, sure, they can see what the laptops look like, but here they have a place where they can get familiar with them, where they can play, see how many FPS they get. And yes, as you can see, the gaming zone really stands out because the RGB lighting always catches your eye from afar. We have a chill out zone, a place where you can sit down, and on an interactive monitor you can do a lot of things as well. And there's also a dedicated work zone, so on a wide monitor like you see here, we can connect several image sources at once and work comfortably instead of messing around with switching windows. Everything is clearly visible in Excel.
On the ROBOTY channel, of course, we talk about work. We're in a cool place. The work is related to this place, but how is your career going?
Generally, you could say I'm already quite a long-serving employee. As for Lenovo, it's basically my 11th year. It started with working as a brand rep.
Acting as a host or brand rep in stores, recommending phones or laptops to customers.
Exactly, yes. I started after high school as someone who advises customers in one of the electronics chains, specifically on Lenovo products. And it all turned out pretty well because I was noticed right when they were basically opening recruitment for regional coordinator positions. I took part, I got it, and then it went further from there. Mainly, what I do today is, you could say, passing on this product knowledge to other people, usually employees of those retail chains or other brand reps who are still working, and we still have a lot of them in Poland. And here in the showroom, I also take part in various activities because it's not just a place where we sell, but it's also kind of our communication hub with the world. Here we organize workshops. Here we also want to connect the gaming community, organize sports tournaments. So this is a place we want to make more interesting.
You mentioned your first job as a brand rep, and as I said, I remember it quite well, and I think the viewers do too, meaning those are the people who stand in electronic stores and offer some equipment. Back then, there was an hourly rate and likely a sales commission, right?
Yes, that's how it works. In sales, there always has to be the right motivation to actually sell, not just stand there for a certain number of hours, so yes.
But still, you wanted to keep developing in this industry, right? Because you didn't leave. Usually it's just a temporary job. You promote, you study, you make some extra money, and then you move on. But you stayed here in tech.
You know, if I had ended up, I don't know, as a shampoo brand rep, for example, maybe it would have been a bit different. But I happened to end up in a place that interested me. Also, it was always like, wow. I have computers around me, I can even unpack them and put them on display in the store, but I'm unpacking a new expensive laptop. That was something I really liked. I was always, like basically every guy back then, let's say in the early 2000s, really into games. I played a lot on the computer, so computers interested me.
What kind of person do you have to be? What skills or interests do you need to have to do this kind of job and to feel as good in your work as you do?
Yes, I think that as always, when it comes to this kind of work, interpersonal relationships are important, and sometimes having a lot of product knowledge at the beginning is actually a bit secondary. Sales is always a relationship between two people. If we know how to get along with the other person, we can keep the conversation going. The knowledge itself actually comes pretty quickly.
So not every gamer would be suited for this kind of job because, like you said, you also have to approach the person and not just show the equipment but actually sell it.
Sometimes people say that we get along best with those who are like us. Clients can also be a bit introverted, we could say. And for example, someone with a very technical approach, like we might assume a gamer would be, for whom the most important things are the parameters, specifications, and technical details, there's also a chance that person will fit in. There may not be a golden rule. Everyone finds their place in their own way, which is what makes this all so great.
So be sure to write in the comments, dear viewers, whether you could see yourselves working in a place like this. Shimon, I am always full of admiration and respect for people like you, meaning people who can turn their passion into their profession and their job, so that's great. But I'm also curious about what the actual work here looks like when this place is open, what the hours are, and what you do here on a daily basis.
From 11 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. Monday to Friday, and from 11 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. on Saturdays. So what does a typical workday look like? I mean, we can probably guess more or less what stores look like. In a way, the showroom is actually a bit different because things like workshops often happen here, or meetings with people who talk about a specific topic and share their knowledge with the gathered audience. But actually here we have a cross-section of customers who want to learn more. Something about Lenovo equipment, and they often come here already with specific knowledge they want to ask about.
Exactly, because I'm curious. You know, when we go to an electronics store, there are devices of all kinds. We enter one building and we can talk about different equipment. Here we come for a specific device. So why do people decide to come to a showroom like this instead of going to a store?
I think that here the key factor might be that when you go to a store, the advisor there has to know everything about hair clippers, laptops, and TVs. So the level and range of knowledge there might be a bit lower, a bit more diluted. Here, we end up in the hands of specialists, people who know everything about the brand, the technologies, and the specific products that are here. And very often, the range of products in the showroom is also the largest. We're standing next to computers that cost around 20,000 here. You won't see that too often in standard electronics stores. Here, it's the norm.
Okay, so you're talking about the fact that there are specialists here. I see a few guys working here. So how do you become specialists? Does the brand provide you with, I don't know, training? Like when a new laptop comes in, do you go to some training, educate yourselves on the topic? Or do you rather, I don't know, get the laptop to take home, play around with it and learn on your own?
It depends because there are a lot of models. Obviously, not everything ends up at home and not everything can be tested out. But yes, there are professional product trainings, often already at the production stage when things aren't fully finalized yet. It's like the world knows that such a device is being prepared, and we already know something about it. We already know that, okay, this device will come out, it will have this, this, and this. And like we're actually waiting for that finalization process, for it to appear, for that launch moment when we'll finally be able to announce to the world that this device really works. So yes, you could say that from that moment, a kind of training process begins, and the closer we get, the more we know about this equipment, and finally, it appears. And then, like you said, there's an option to click around, see it, touch it, and that always works best because you can go through 30 slides in PowerPoint about it. But sometimes it's only when you see it that you realize, wow, this is a device that really meets the criteria that could be interesting for this or that target group.
I'm not a computer geek, so it would probably be hard for me to stump a specialist like that, but do you get customers who really have such vast knowledge that they can stump you with something technological?
I think the internet gives such huge opportunities when it comes to specializing in a specific group of products. Customers today are really very demanding, and it's often those demanding ones who come here, and we are definitely very often able to help them.
Helping them is the most important thing so we don't get stumped. As usual on the ROBOTY channel, I appear as an employee. Today, since we're in the showroom and we have a specialist, I can be the customer. So based on today's scenario, let's say I'm coming in, for example, to get some equipment. And what does that process look like, whether it's showing or selling? Does the process always have to be finalized so that when someone comes in and is interested, they always end up at the checkout? Or can they just look around and, for example, order the equipment somewhere else?
Our mission, to put it in lofty terms, is to give advice. It's not about seeing you and thinking, you're my customer, I have to go after you, I have to sell you this product right now, and you walk out with a laptop under your arm. Today, for example, the customer is definitely more knowledgeable about equipment, and we've kind of moved into a stage where we sell based on the technology as well. It's about selling what's inside the computer, what you can only really notice after you've bought it, after you start using it. That's what we basically call user experience, which is what later distinguishes one laptop from another.
For example, we can use that laptop we mentioned earlier to talk about specific technologies. Could you present it in a way that makes me want to buy it? Like I said, maybe not games in my case, but more those technologies, video editing, artificial intelligence, that speaks to me. So you already have a customer profile in mind, so could you present it based on what I need?
Yes, so you're a customer who could, for example, benefit from these NVIDIA Studio technologies, meaning everything that makes video editing more efficient. We have NVIDIA Broadcast, which is also software designed to improve your video quality and your audio quality. All of this later affects how people perceive the material that gets released. But of course, today the buzzword in every context is also artificial intelligence. And you'll find a lot of artificial intelligence here, to put it briefly. But what does that actually mean? Because we hear about artificial intelligence everywhere, but we don't necessarily know, okay, what exactly is artificial intelligence in a laptop? And that's where technologies like DLSS come in, for example, a technology that basically allows you to generate more frames per second for what's called upscaling, which makes what you see on your computer screen rich in detail and sharpness. So the image looks much better, while at the same time our graphics card isn't heavily loaded. It's the same with technologies that, well, you said you play a bit less, but gamers play
CS and similar games.
So, well, you nailed it. It's almost like we're following a script right now. Yes, there is technology, for example, NVIDIA Reflex, which is designed to shorten, let's call it, the time between when you click the mouse and when the computer actually registers it. This is the so-called frame warp technology. Already it's second generation.
For a shooter game, it's probably necessary.
Yeah, obviously, the faster you react here, the greater the chance that the round will go in favor of your team or yourself. And all of this is complemented by ray tracing technologies, which are technologies for tracking light rays, so that all those reflections, shadows, puddle reflections, and so on, look the way they should look. Every little element affects how the game looks in the end, but what is it all about? First of all, it's about the fact that when we launch a game that's all about atmosphere, let's say Borderlands 4 or Indiana Jones, where we're in some cave and the only light we have is a torch, for it to be perfectly recreated, just like the light would behave in real life, that's exactly what these technologies are responsible for. And that definitely pushed games forward graphically as well. I mean, it's the 21st century.
If your eyes and mouth opened wide while listening to everything Simon was talking about, make sure to stay until the end, because there will be a chance to win equipment worth 42,000. Like I said, for me, a laptop or computer equipment is like a workhorse that should get everything done quickly and take up as little of my time as possible, so this equipment would probably be good for that too.
In short, yes, that's how it would work. All these technologies are exactly what make it run fast.
As a representative of my viewers on the Do Roboty channel, I visit workplaces and ask questions. Since we're only discussing positives, I have to ask, are there any downsides to what you could call a dream job for someone who likes gaming and technology?
Yes, for me it might be that I'm not home much since a lot is happening here. I don't live in Warsaw day to day, I'm from Rzeszów, so I also commute whenever my duties call. When it comes strictly to the showroom, I think that like in any sales job, one topic always comes up, which is probably the working hours, 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So, you wake up in the morning and soon it's time for work. You come back in the evening and it's almost night. That's how it is.
Starting at 8 o'clock would be nice, but really, who would come for computer equipment that early?
Yes, but we realize that this is just the nature of the retail industry in general. So I think that's the only thing that comes to my mind. Don't push me to say more because I can't think of anything else.
Sure, so those working hours, in my opinion too, because like you said, it's not strictly early morning, but it's also not afternoon work. It's kind of...
If you enjoy sleeping in, you might see an advantage here.
We know that a person who can work here needs to have interpersonal skills, be able to talk to people and sell, because that's important too. Even though this is a showroom and we're showing things, we still have to present the offer and actually close the sale. What else? Any specific education required?
Nowadays, even during job interviews, at least in my experience, I haven't seen education being excessively verified. Sometimes you can just tell that someone is suited for this kind of job, and that's probably more important, to simply give the impression that you're right for it.
Giving the impression, there are those memes on the internet like, I lied on my resume, I got the job, now what?
Like that dog jumping on the waves, right?
But the most important thing is to know this equipment or to learn it and enjoy doing it. Earnings, a monthly salary plus probably some sales commission anyway.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a standard in sales too, like what motivates sales better than commission? Well, that's something we go to work for.
So there's some kind of bonus after all. We show these devices, but we also sell them. My dear friends, if you've made it to this point in the episode, it means the topic really interested you, and that's exactly why a contest from Lenovo and Nvidia has been organized for you. And you can win gaming room equipment worth 42,000 zlotys, so it's definitely worth taking part in this event. As for the prizes, we have a laptop worth about 20,000.
That's right, Lenovo Legion Pro 7 i10th generation, equipped with an Nvidia GeForce RTX 5090 graphics card, so it's hardware that makes a difference in any gamer's room.
And not just for gaming, but also for studying. And besides this hardware, there's also about 20,000 for equipping this gaming room, so it's worth taking part. Most importantly, I brought all this hardware myself with the guys from the Matura to Bzdura channel, so here's a link for you. The link is also in the description and pinned comment. Click, send a video explaining why you should win this prize, what your current gaming room looks like, or what room you'd like to play in on this laptop in the future. Send it in if you have such an entry. The full rules are also on that website, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for all of you, and I hope we'll see each other soon with this gear. To sum up this whole day of work in your showroom, this kind of showroom is the only one in Poland, the second one in Europe, right?
Yes, the only one in Poland, that's right, the second one in Europe after Milan. So you can see these are prestigious locations. It shows that we're simply an important market as well. Interestingly, in Poland, we actually have one of the highest percentages of gamers, users of gaming laptops. So the Polish market is growing stronger.
It's growing stronger, and it can also grow its pool of specialists who do this kind of work from the very beginning, just like you, for example, as a host or promoter, promoting this kind of equipment, or simply by working in such a showroom, because why not?
There are many different career paths, plenty of opportunities, but once someone gets here, they're usually satisfied.
They stay longer, as you can see with Szymon. You should stay longer too. Subscribe to the Do Roboty channel, leave a like, comment on this video, and most importantly, take part in the contest. This is Wojtek Kaczmarczyk. I'm really glad you made it to the very end. Thank you for watching this video, and I encourage you to check out more videos on the Do Roboty channel. Check out the next video to see what I've recorded.